Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the Group Sales Power Hour. I am your host, Stuart Cohen. It is August 6th, and we've got a really big hour for you today. I've got 2 pages of stuff that either you've sent directly to me that's been posted in our Group Sales Boot Camp Facebook group, or stuff I picked out from our Group Sales Success Summit Facebook group page that I thought was very interesting we should discuss. We're going to kick off today with a welcome. Welcome if you're new here for the first time, and if you're here for the first time, Aaron, I don't know if this will be your first time, if you've been on before, but let me know if you're here for the first time so I can warmly welcome you. Just to review the rules, there are no rules. The agenda for the Power Hour is your agenda. So type in stuff you want to share, a success story, a failure, a question. If you need a solution, maybe I can help. We can do some best practice sharing. If you're bold enough for us to hear your beautiful voice, maybe even see your beautiful face, we could turn your camera on too. At the very least, we can put your mic on if you want to communicate live, which is always cool. If not, just go ahead and let your fingers do the talking. Type in. You're probably wondering why on earth is he wearing a tie today? Is there some kind of big announcement, or I don't know, is he going out on a big important lunch meeting? The answer is no, no, and no. I'm honest to goodness, I'm just wearing the tie today because I want to remind you all that when you go out to an event, whether it's a networking event or a meeting, whether you're hosting it or you're in the audience, if you're attending some kind of a program, you know what? If you're out in public, I'm not saying if you're at the supermarket. I mean, that would be nice if you dress up, but you know, I'm not suggesting that. But you want to be the best dressed in the room. And that's something that over the last few years I've taken really seriously. And J. Crew, I think I have become their biggest customer. So, you know, when you're out at these meetings, whether you're on stage presenting, especially, or just attending, be the best dressed. Are you paying enough attention to how you look, to what you're wearing, to your posture, to your smile? It's so important because people are looking at you, they're watching you. And if you raise your hand, if you contribute, if you ask a question, if you go up to somebody, put your hand out and say, "Hi, I'm Stuart, and I was really impressed with what you just shared on stage," or "I read your book, it's great," or "May I have your card?" Be remarkable in your presentation, the way you look, even before you open up your mouth. So just a little reminder here, and this is not a clip-on tie. It's a regular tie. The other thing I want to share is you're probably wondering, what's up with this guy's sideburns? What is he thinking? What is he doing? I've had some friends say, no, lose it. But my wife is supporting this. See, we're going to a wedding. We're flying to New Jersey this weekend for a wedding. And I just, you know, it's my best friend's brother, who's also my best friend. And I just, you know, wanted to do something groovy. So I'm kind of letting it grow in. I'm gonna kind of shave it, you know, so it'll look all kind of contemporary. You see what I'm saying? I want to look groovy. I want to look cool. You know, this is not an Elvis lookalike situation. I, by far, could never look like him. But that, in case you're wondering, there you go. Let's say Linda's in house. I will see you at Nest Fest, Linda. How exciting that I am keynoting Nest Fest, the 15-year anniversary. I couldn't be more excited, Linda, and I've just started working on the keynote speech, and it's going to be so much fun. I can't wait to see you and so many others there. On the ship, too. We're going to be at a cruise ship. How awesomely exciting. Ramona's in the house. She can see and hear me. Ramona says, "Good morning, Earl." Earl. Good morning, Earl. Am I O-I-L? A-L-L? No, A-L-L. So, see, we've got both Scotts in the house today. Hello, Scott Baltimore is in the house. Welcome. And Kevin is in the house, too. Oh, good, Kevin. Good. I'm going to mention something. All right. So I wanted to get that out of the way. The other thing I wanted to tell you is I have uploaded a PDF. You'll see it there. Please go ahead, click on it, and download it. Or have I downloaded it? Will you upload it? Or have I uploaded it? Will you download it? I don't know. But you know where I'm going with this. right? So I am pleased to officially announce, I announced it on our last Power Hour, that the Travel Institute has officially recognized Group Sales Bootcamp and Group Sales Success Summit worthy of CEU, Continuing Education Units, as credits. So we are now fully accredited. This is very big news. Maybe that's why I'm wearing the tie too. It's a big celebration. And here's how it's going to work real quick, friends, just so you know. This boot camp, I didn't invite any outside guests in, so it's just my boot campers here. So if you're currently enrolled in boot camp, if you're enrolled in a Travel Institute training program, which would be CTA, CTC, CTIE, and if you need credits, well, the good news is they gave me the max to give you for being a boot camp member, and that's 10. So you'll earn 10 CEU credits. Now, that includes credits you're getting for GSSS1 and GSSS2, just so you know, so you don't earn more for that. Now, when I do launch GSSS3, you can get 3 credits for that automatically because you're already in boot camp. Remember, you get that free as part of boot camp. And I will make another announcement to probably my email list, everyone who's in the Group Sales Success Summit, everybody who's not in boot camp, that if they were, they can renew for $100, which so many of you do. I'm grateful for. I think it's the deal of a century to stay in for the year and get all this ongoing coaching, and also get the credits. And anyone who's just bought Group Sales Success Summit, GSSS for Keeps, 1 or 2, they're entitled to receiving 3 credits each. 3 credits for 1, 3 credits for 2. I'm pumped. I'm excited. The information, friends, is on this handout for you, so you have it. I'll post it in our private Facebook group. And one big thing to let you know, that if you're enrolled in the Travel Institute, and you know that normally you can go directly to their website and upload this, and you'll get credited for at least when I launch this. The deal is it needs to go through me first. So I've created a special link, and I'm going to, let me see if I can share my screen real quick. Hey, tell me, everybody, if you can see this, if you can see this screen. Can you see this screen that I'm sharing? Can you see that screen? Let me know. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you. Oh, welcome. Thank you, Linda. So this is, and that hyperlink is on this handout. I'll need you to just please take a moment, fill it out. I will send the list to the Travel Institute on your behalf, because I just need to, make sure that everything that comes through is kosher, since you bought it directly from me, not through the Travel Institute. And we'll get you those credits, 10 credits, which I think is pretty exciting. I hope that Sassy's in the house. Yay! Patricia's here. Scott's here. Wow, this is huge. So I just want to let you know of that. And our next Power Hour is August 20. I'm trying to schedule out so that you can make arrangements. Let me just see who's posted here. Hang on. So let me take this list here. Karen D. We'll go with Karen D. All right. Said that she just saw this as a question on a blog. Do your agents here know that if they accompany a group, they are now considered a tour operator and need to increase their E&O insurance as a result? So, friends, I am not aware of that. So I'm going to continue to research this. I'm not doubting it at all, but let me get some more information on this. And if you have information, share too, because, hey, friends, I'm the biggest advocate of you going with the group to be there, because you know what happens when you don't go. Things go wrong and they blame you. And you know that, especially if it's a group on a cruise ship, with all due respect for my dear wonderful cruise ship brethren, they change rooms. There's so much going on board that things get messed up, somebody needs to be there. And I tell you, I coach you to talk to your group lead, talk to the group and say, listen, are you going to have a good time? Of course I am. Well, if I don't go, you're not going to have as good a time because you're the one who's going to have to stay a step ahead and behind the scenes to go check out the room, to meet with the meeting planner. You're going to be working. Let me go and I'll work for you. Well, I don't want to pay for your free trip. Don't worry about it. You will pay for me, but you don't have to take it out of your pocket. My cost will be spread out amongst everybody. You'll never know. You'll never know. It becomes a minimal hit. But trust me, the additional cost everyone is paying is well worth it because I'll make sure nothing goes wrong. But what Karen is saying here is that, in fact, if you go, you're a tour operator and you need to increase your E&O. So I'm going to see if anyone else has any feedback on that. Karen, thank you for sharing that. Karen said she increased her E&O for all these years because she ran her culinary tours with her chef. So she actually increased her E&O. Good stuff, right? Let's see, blah, blah, blah. Let me just see here. Sandra said some tips for YouTube. Okay. I'm going to come back to that, Sandra. I'm going to come back to the YouTube tips. Let me see. She's in the house. Cheryl's in the house. Cheryl said, you don't see the download. Hey, you guys all see the download? Do you see the download there? I don't know where it is on your screen. It's a handout. It would be a handout. And if you don't see it, Cheryl, not a problem. I'll put it in a Facebook group. Send me an email. I'll get it to you somehow, some way. Chrisia? No, wait a minute. Are we going to go through this again? I probably asked you this before. Yeah, I'm just the world's worst at name pronunciation, but I'm also the first to admit it. Says, what was the E&O she started with? So I think the amount. I don't know. Maybe Karen will share that. So Sandra said, if you want the handout, it is above the talk space. So it's above the talk space. I hope that helps. Hey, Nana's in the house. Welcome. Nana says, my E&O is about $1 million. Is it enough if I am taking a group? I don't know. Let's ask the rest of the group. And I'm also committed to getting more information for you and sharing with it. She wants to know if $1 million is enough. Cheryl said she found it. She sees it. There it is. Chris, see you. You're the best. Thank you. And thank you for forgiving me for my ineptness. My wife does all the time. Sandra said the PDF is above the comment space. Okay. And Chrisia says that she also has $1 million too in E&O insurance. Okay, so let me start off with so much that was sent in here to me. I want to share this beautiful success story that was shared by Martha of Garden of Dreams Travel. It's a great story, and I think it showcases business savvy. Business savvy, when you really care, when you're really convicted, when you know what your job is. It's not just to sell, but it's to take loving care of your client and do things in their best interest, knowing that if you do, good things will come back to you too. So she was contacted by a client who wanted a cruise tour to Alaska, matched them with a perfect line, set up group space. And as she was setting things up, she wanted to set herself apart. That's key there. Set herself apart. What are you doing, friends, when you are working with clients to be remarkably good, not to be unremarkable, but to be remarkably good, to do something different? And she tried to figure out a way to do that. Remember, I always tell you, don't sell the off-the-shelf, bare-bone, stripped-down package, or I should say product, because they'll shop you till they drop you, and they don't need you. So she took the cruise points and assigned it to a specialty dining restaurant dinner. Got strawberries and wine on embarkation, which I love. So she created a package, friends, and she used the points, cost her no money. Then went in and looked at all the shore excursions, chose one that she knew was popular, added it to the cost, and sent the proposal to the client, called me back the next day and said he was pleasantly surprised, which is great. Now, I just want you to know, Martha, you took a chance here by putting the proposal in an email. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you didn't do this, but maybe make sure you watch in boot camp Pitch Perfect, because basically this sounds like she was making the pitch to the client to get hired, and you never want to run the risk of them reading it, making false assumptions about it and price shopping you, which is fine in this case. But what if they didn't realize you had built in all these extras? So thankfully you got it But I always suggest that you present it to as many of them as possible so you get their buy-in, ask their questions, overcome obstacles right there and then versus taking the risk of putting in an email. Went over the details, placed a hold on the cabin, waited a couple days because she knew there was going to be a promo, a $100 onboard promo. See, she was studying, she was watching, she was in the game, and ended up, she was able to, before she booked the client, she's waited for a little bit, but got the group promo, the group incentives, added the show excursion, and then worked with her BDM and was able to add the excursion to the whole group. So she promoted it to her networking group, and 75% of her 16 cabin group space is gone. So this sounds like this is a slightly more of a speculative or promotional group. So let's understand that. But she did it with great business savvy. She really gave it thought and was able to put together a great opportunity. And 75% are sold out. That's great stuff. See, what you're doing is you've started with yes, promotional, not as much affinity, but is leveraging it. And I'm all for this stuff. This is great. Now, how many people who are going here, whether they know each other or not, have the opportunity to bring you affinity groups in the future once they see how great, how wonderful, how amazing you are. Good luck, Martha, and I wish you continued success. This came in from Kevin. He's part of the Group Sales Success Summit from Better Days Travel. And he said, suggestions for what to include in an initial letter to a potential joint venture client. Initial letter to a potential. So how many times, friends, have you said to me, have you come up with an idea, you have a great idea to do a joint venture with a client, but you don't want to look like a cheesy salesman and be slam dunked into the wastebasket. When he got it exactly right. This is what they'll do, friends. If you put your big idea in an email or a voicemail, you're just another salesperson, right? We've talked about this so many times before. Because he's looking at targeting some local wineries. How many have you done that or are doing that, and breweries? And he hopes it could lead to a possible wine-themed European river cruise or Ireland tour or something of that nature. Well, again, you're right. It'll end up in the wastebasket if you put your big idea. So what do I always say, friends? What do I always say? Request a 15-minute meeting. You have to find some commonality to get in the door. Maybe you're both local business owners. Maybe you're a customer. Maybe you've been referred. Okay? Get in the door with a 15-minute innocent meeting and just make friends and get to know them and their business. Do some research so you know what questions to ask. Don't go in with an agenda to sell because they're going to boot you out the room and discover what their problem is. Remember, we've talked about this, and Erin, you're new here. Nana, you're relatively new, but we met at the Next Group Summit, is that groups, affinity groups succeed when you solve a problem. The reason why everyone is going to travel together on this date, on this destination, pay this price, and go all at the same time is because it's solving a problem. It's easier, it's better, it's more fun, it's more productive, it's more fruitful, whatever it is, if we all go together. So what's their problem? So Kevin, and I suggest this in the email to you, and friends, all of you that I know you've got a million ideas brimming. So do I, a million ideas. And I just pick up the phone or send an email. I love picking up the phone. How many people answer these days? Not many, but when they do, it's fun. Say, hey, listen, you got 15 minutes? Let me buy a cup of coffee. You just published a book. I'm a local business owner too. I just want to come meet you. Like, for instance, right now, I'm trying to get in the door at the Peabody Hotel to the guy who he deals with all the incoming groups because, man, how come I'm not down there doing keynotes every day at the Peabody? Why? I think I'm darn good. So I've already been referred. So I'm on his list, but he's a busy guy. And I don't want him to think I'm selling anything. But you watch, I'll report back that I will eventually meet him. We're going to make friends. And then I'm going to ask him. Maybe it's a pain point that they come to him looking for speakers, or the speakers he's seen stink. But what if he says he's got all the speakers he needs? They come and there's no problem. Great, we'll be friends. I can't help you. So that's what I would suggest. Joint venture client. You know, you can try saying, listen, I have an idea to share, but I think you run the risk of them immediately saying, thank you, no, not interested, right? Okay. I want to, Kevin. Okay, so this is Kevin. Oh, there's two Kevins. This is Kevin from our Kevin, who's in boot camp, from Sunrises at Sea and Tour Travel. So let me just read this and wish you very well. I loved your Facebook post, Kevin. This was really great. And then I'm going to catch up, see what you guys and gals are writing in there. This is so much fun for me, really. Well, one of these days, what if you have to come to Memphis and sit here with me, and we'll do this together, or maybe co-host with me. It's just so much fun. Okay, so I'm going to paraphrase here. But Kevin is very excited, Sunrises at Sea and Tour Travel, because he's got a group of a potential, he's working on a group of 11 women, all turning 50 this year. They want to celebrate their birthdays for a week. How exciting is that? And so I'm paraphrasing here. I'm just picking out some really powerful, potent words you wrote here, Kevin. And I don't mean to put the focus on you or embarrass you at all. I'm just inspired by how raw, how authentic you are, because we all feel this, but do we say these words and share it to each other? So friends, share this stuff in Facebook. Allow me to share it here so that we can all support you and wish you well. He says, going to have to step into a completely different comfort zone. You got it, baby. Don't step outside your comfort zone. Step into a new comfort zone. I like your thinking. Got to be on top of this for the potential 5 to 6 new couples worth of future business. That's right. So each of these women either have boyfriends or they're married, and this could be future business. And the lead, where he got the lead, is a friend of a friend, so who's going to be getting married. So there's a honeymoon potential too. And there's family travel potential too. Do you see, friends? Do you see? One little itty bitty lead could lead to a lifetime of exponentially growing business if you deliver remarkably well. Remarkably well. If you're committed, if you're convicted that you're the best in the business, and you're going to take great loving care of them, and you do. And he writes, no pressure, just sweaty palms. Yeah. Frankly, yes, pressure and sweaty palms. But this is what you sign up for, friends. You know, when I get a phone call from a client and they're like, hey, can you do a keynote for us or a training for us or whatever, talking about this, that, the other thing, and I realize it's in my love circle, and I get excited, and the contract gets signed, when I go to write my speech, the pressure's on, man. Nest hired me to keynote their 15-year anniversary celebration conference. I'm nervous. The pressure's on. Sweaty palms, my friends. If I didn't get nervous, where's the adrenaline? Where's the dopamine? I need that to produce extraordinary stuff. I'm also writing for a Travel Leads Network, a 4-series tour. I'm going to be at the Dream Vacations Conference as well. I'm nervous about all this stuff. We need to be nervous so we produce our best, and it's what we signed up for. And I just want to let you know that I shared this with all of our mutual friend, Mike Marshev, who's on a river cruise right now. Okay, his wife, Barbara, she has traveled with her 7 girlfriends, and they're celebrating their 70th this year. They've been to Santa Fe, Quebec, Charleston, and other places. And because he shared this with me, always fantastic, luxurious properties. And of course, Kevin, you should treat this as an annuity, because they why not celebrate 51, 52, 53, 54, 55? Why not? So good luck. Keep us in the loop. Let us know how that goes. All right, let me see what's on the boards here. And yeah, we'll talk about YouTube next, Sandra. I appreciate that question. Let's see here. Let's in PDF, but I really into no worries for years. This is Karen D. For years, I was worried about what if my chef got ill before we left and couldn't go. What would I do? I had prepaid all the expenses, all the non-refundables at that point. Client can only cancel for medical reasons or themselves, but they weren't ill and could never put in a claim for themselves. I realized one of the few solutions was to have all the guests purchase cancel for any reason insurance, and I would pay for that. Of course, it was built into the cost of the trip. See, that's a great solution to a high-risk situation, friends. When you contract, when your group is built around a celebrity, okay, like this, they could get sick, something could come up better, a TV thing, something, you never know. You know, when I did my years ago, I did my Super Bowl Giants cruise when I was actually working for World Travel Holdings. And wouldn't you know it, but they won the Super Bowl that year. And you'd think, well, Stuart, isn't that great news? Because wouldn't that help your efforts to get these Giants players on the cruise? But the problem is they won, and so many of the players went to play in the summer game. Forgive me, I am the world's worst at football and understanding it. Yeah, I know, I get it. Yeah, don't laugh. Go ahead and laugh. Go ahead. I hear you. I know. I live in Tennessee. You know, everyone here lives for college ball, so forth and so on. But I know this is not college. But the point is, I lost all my good players. They went to go play. Is it the Pro Bowl? Is that what you're saying? I can't hear you, but I think that's what you're saying. You're manifesting it to me. Send Stuart the information because he's live right now and he doesn't have the answers. That's okay. So good luck, Kevin. Oh no, we're back here. So Karen, thank you for sharing that. So I hope everybody heard that about the cancel for any reason. Just make sure, friends, you get your people signed up for it to buy it before they can't. I blew it when I did my partial ship charter of the Armor Christina. I didn't put it out there soon enough after they purchased, and I could no longer offer CFAR, right? Does everybody understand that? It's got to be purchased. I don't even want to quote this because I could be wrong. I think it was 2 weeks, but don't quote me on this. So that it's still applicable, or else they can't buy it. Thank you for sharing that. Dawn, hey Dawn, says regarding errors and omission, if I'm using an actual tour operator for a group, I designate myself clearly as a tour escort, and my name as the tour operator is being used. Even if it's a custom tour, the culinary tour is different. If not using a third party, then yes, protect yourself with extra insurance coverage. So I understand that. So let me just say that again. Regarding errors and omission, if I'm using an actual tour operator for the group, I designate myself as the escort. And so, so she's still increasing her insurance coverage. So that I guess that's a little bit of a slice differently, because it's not as if it's on a cruise ship, which is not considered a tour operator, right? But in this case, it's a tour operator, let's say an Insight or a Globus or something like that. So I appreciate you offering that. I am going to do more research on this so we can have a more lively discussion. Nancy said, hey, Nancy, tell the guy at the Peabody you'll feed the ducks. I know, right? He's got enough people. You're not allowed to feed the ducks. Not allowed to. Can't do it. Oh, Karen D responded to Dawn. Dawn, that doesn't apply to you. This only applies if you are creating your own custom tour like I do. There you go. If it's your own custom tour. Now, I think that's what Dawn was saying, that she did use a tour operator, classified herself as the escort, and didn't need to get the extra, but she did increase her insurance coverage. So I think we're cool. I'm going to go back to, I have so much here, but I just want to talk about, Sandra, your request was about some YouTube tips. Now, I don't know exactly what your mission is. It's kind of hard to give tips when I don't really know what your mission is, but let's just say that you just want to use YouTube for obviously posting videos, and to be, not necessarily get followers on YouTube, or perhaps, but to use your YouTube videos on your website, just showcase who you are and what you do, which is what I do. And of course, I want to get followers too. So basically, I don't have a schedule. Some people have a schedule. They post every day or once a week, almost like a podcast. But with YouTube, you don't necessarily have to start a show. You could start a YouTube show. You could even do YouTube Live, like Facebook Live. You can do that too. But what I would suggest you do is come up with a mission so that people know why they should watch your video and subscribe to you. Because you do want to get subscribers, and you do want to leverage your videos on your website and use it. So for customers, if a customer doesn't know who you are, they can go say, hey, check me out on my YouTube channel. Take a look. And I think it's a great move, Sandra, and everybody. I think people want to see videos. People don't have time to read anymore. So the more you can share in video, the better. Now, I don't know, Sandra, if you're thinking of doing little short webinars, or if you're just going to share some of the videos of you in your competitions, or of you traveling and talking to the camera, or whatever. But it has to be information that I'm interested in watching. I'm being the average, Joe consumer. I'm pulled and stretched. There's so many places I can go. There's Instagram and Pinterest and Snapchat and Facebook. Where do I go? What do I watch? There's so much. Why? What are you going to do that's so compelling that I'd want to click play and subscribe and follow you and make a comment and maybe even share your video with others? What value are you bringing to the table? And I say it has to be consistent. Now, if you go to my YouTube channel, I actually designated one is for travel professionals, for the Power Hour. So you can subscribe just to the Power Hour, and you'll know whenever I release a new video, or I have one which the company I'm launching next, Solopreneur Network, and I'll be adding those videos there. And another company called Healthy Sexy You, which I'm doing with my wife, okay, it's our integrative health coach company. Oh, look at that, the Amazon Prime van just pulled up in my driveway, which is weird. They never pull up in driveways, and which means I'm getting a present today. I'm getting a gift. Now, of course, I paid for it, but don't you feel like you're still getting a gift, a present? I have no idea what this is, by the way, so maybe I didn't order it. Maybe somebody sent me a gift. Thank you so much. In any case, this is it's a great question, and it depends on what your mission statement is. But I would say it has to be some level of consistency. Use great descriptors too and keywords, because people go to YouTube and they just type in stuff. Like I was this weekend, I had a silent retreat at my lake house, and I wanted to study more about ADHD. Is this this affliction that I have, that I try to turn from a disability to a do-ability, if you will. How do I leverage it? Friends and family, sometimes I could drive crazy because of this. It's not my fault. But how can I leverage it in business and as an entrepreneur and on stage? And I just type it in, and a million, TED Talks, TEDx Talks come up, so forth and so on. My point is, will you come up in a search? What do you want to share? What's your value? What's your purpose? Stick to it. And I don't think you need to necessarily generate content as frequently as a podcast, unless that's what your intent is, to sort of do your podcast there, even though it's really not a podcast, and it's not as easily downloadable from YouTube. You guys know that a podcast is. So let's talk more about this. I want to understand what your mission is, and also if anybody else uses YouTube, leverage it, because I'm a big believer in that. By the way, I want to put a question out there. Let's discuss this in our Facebook group, Airbnb. I don't know if we'll have time now, but I want to get your thoughts and feelings on Airbnb. Do you shy away from it? Do you do it? Are there really more liability risks in booking that? Would you book it and mark it up? I'm just curious. I want to get a pulse from my boot campers, how you feel about it, what you're doing with it, if anything at all. I'm curious, and I want to table that as a discussion. Okay, Aaron, we're going to come to you next. Aaron, who's a relatively new boot camper from Cultivating Connections. So the Prime van is leaving. That's a Mercedes van, which is impressive, and I have no idea why they pulled up my driveway. There you go. Let me just see here if anybody, Okay. Oh, Sandra said exposure. So you just want to get, and I think it's great. You should absolutely do it, especially if you're traveling, if you have messages to share, if you got something to talk about. Use video. And Sandra said her mission is fitness, food, travel. I love it. You couldn't be any more clear and concise as that. Fitness, food, travel. Showcase who you are, what you do. Tell your story through video, and people will follow you. Remember, in this business, you can put everything else aside. You are an influencer. And if you want to up your influence ability, up your influence, you got to use video. And if you're really weak with that, don't, because we don't want that to hurt your efforts. But I hope you can get comfortable doing it. And if not, then write, perhaps. My friend Mitch, he's writing a book. Okay. Sassy, hey Sassy, Stuart, King of Automation. I sent my CEU's request and got a lovely reply from you, and you're here talking to us. You are my hero. Automation is my weakest link. Sassy, thank you for filling it out. I appreciate it. And yes, friends, you know, I'm a solopreneur, Ceci, like you. Although I don't know if you still have a staff. You had a staff. Some of us want to have a staff or independent contractors. I have independent contractors. Really, I just hire them when I need work done, but I don't have a staff. So I know that I need to be as efficient as possible. So, friends, what are you doing to automate your systems? What can you do to make it really easy for your clients to process something, do something while you're doing something else? So to Ceci's point, we're here. I'm broadcasting live right now. And Ceci, use the form. I use Jot forms. I pay for it. And so I'm sure I got an email. And you got a thank you email too. And hang on, watch this. Watch this. I'm going to check right here. Let's see if it came through. Come on. Download. That's not download. It'll come back. Oh, here we go. Jot form. Look, CEU credit. Oh my goodness. Chrisia sent it in. See this? Ceci. Kyle. Thank you, Kyle. See? And it's done. Scott L sent it in. Super cool. What are you doing to make your life a little bit easier? And now, friends, all I do is I go to Jotform, I download the Excel spreadsheet, and I send it over to Travel Institute. And your credits will be added in. I'm all about efficiency. What are you doing to be more efficient? You're welcome, Sandra. Kyle has a YouTube suggestion. Talk about one single idea, what you want them to feel. Have an opening hook in your video. Make 3 points about your topic or big idea. Lastly, what you want the person to do after they watch the video. For example, get you a free report, a book, drive them to a landing page to capture their information. Beautifully said. Thank you, Kyle. Well done. What's the next step? Why should they subscribe, and what more can they do? Not just call you to buy something, but get the PDF. If you all notice that I do a lot of free stuff in the industry, and there's always a hook there. If you want the free PDF, email me or send me this. If you want this, you got to do this. What's the next step? It's the funnel approach. Really, we talked about this last time. So Kyle, these are great, outstanding tips you've shared with Sandra. Okay, and maybe I think everybody would love to hear that again, but maybe you would be kind enough to post that in our Facebook group if you'd like, or I can on your behalf. Sandra also says she wants to understand Airbnb. So do I. I want to get a pulse from where you all stand on that. Karen G says, skipped YouTube. She's on Roku TV. Still feeling my way along, but trying to put content of value, or at least that's the long-term goal. Roku TV. It's funny because you can start your own channel on Roku TV and get your own set of followers. It's fascinating. Anybody else here do that? Linda said, haven't done Airbnb, wouldn't mind learning more about it. Kyle said, I stay away from Airbnb. Ceci said, here's an article about my thoughts on Airbnb. Okay, there we go. And it's on Travel Market Report. I don't know if I can share this with everybody. Let's see here. I don't know. We're going to try this, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm not above trying something that could bring the whole system down. So Ceci said the article was a travel market report. Let me see. If I put this here and I put send to all, tell me, do you get that? Did you get that? And Kyle, I'm going to get your, let me see if this works, ladies and gentlemen, because this, this could be the new situation here. A type answer here, send to all. Are you getting this? Tell me, are you getting this information I'm sending through? I don't know. Could be cool. Let's see. Patricia. Hey, Patricia says, I know I don't promote or use Airbnb because I find the client something better. Cool. Karen D, good news is I may have told you I rented out a movie theater here in town for the new Downton Abbey movie coming out September 20th. Sold 100 tickets in 4 days. On the screen while waiting for the movie to start, I will promote my tour to Downton Abbey in England 2020. I'm so excited. Super cool, Karen D. Very cool. She rented out a movie theater here in town for the new Downton Abbey movie coming out September 20. What a brilliant idea. That's an entrepreneur at work. An entrepreneur at work. Somebody who takes a risk but put themselves out there to try new things, to give people new information, to improve their lives, transform their worlds. Clearly, if they're coming to see the Downton movie, they're fans, and you got a real good shot at enticing them to get on your list to talk about your 2020 group. Remember, friends, it's the funnel approach, right? Get as many people at the very top of that funnel interested. Oh, let me find out more. And realize some are going to drop off, some are going to drop off. And then those that are here that stick with you through the group launch sequence are going to buy. Good luck, Karen. Very exciting. Patricia, the suppliers, hotels, or bed and breakfasts have backup from the supplier if there's an issue. Oh, I'm not sure I understand what you're saying. The suppliers, hotels, or bed and breakfast because I have backup from the supplier if there's an issue. So there's no backup if there's an issue with an Airbnb or bed and breakfast. I get that. I think that's what your point is. Thank you, Patricia. Scott L says, JotForm helps me also a lot. And Fiverr is a blessing. Friends, Fiverr, Fiverr.com. $5 for a gig. Of course, they can upcharge you for more services, but it's well worth it. Kyle said he'd be happy to post that information. So Chrysia says, I can see the link in the question box. Ceci is seeing it. So you guys are seeing what I reposted and sent out, which is, I don't know why I've never done that before. Scott L. Airbnb, there's a lot of risk factors involved, like the property not being there or not what was advertised. Well, that's interesting you say that, because I never knew that could be possible, because I thought you'd go through some kind of a screening process and there were reviews. I mean, I'd never stay at a place that has no reviews. And remember, they review me too as the guest. And boy, I sure hope the house is there. I've never had a problem. I have used Airbnb. I'm letting you know. We can't fight it, friends. We can't fight it. So if you can join it, how can you join it if you want? But, you know, I'm just saying, you don't want to tell somebody it's dangerous, it's risky. Like, you know, some people are afraid of using Uber or Lyft, but some people are not. You know, we have to understand everyone else's comfort zones. And if they absolutely adore Airbnb, and if you want to be a part of it, be a part of it. If not, don't. But we're going to sort of dissect what the liabilities are. And Scott says, what if the house isn't there? I've never heard that before. That's kind of frightening, but I've never heard that happening. Karen D said, actually, I now have rented the 200-person theater instead. And she has 4 sponsors contributing. So it's grown so much, she's going to a bigger theater. Cool. Lori said, just copy the link. The article came up. And she said, I don't promote Airbnb because there's no consistency across properties and no consistent requirements for safety, i.e. fire alarms, etc. Bed and breakfast and hotels have consistent processes across properties. Lori, thank you for sharing that. And I'm going to You know what? I'm going to copy and just paste that here. It's like my new favorite toy for everybody can see. Karen D, Airbnb. That rhymes. Where it's been so hot is in Europe. When clients have wanted to do an Airbnb, my question to them is, do you understand there will be no pool for the kids after a hot day of traveling, and there's no concierge there to help you book restaurants, tours, etc. in a country that you don't speak the language? Well said, Karen D. That gives them pause to think. You could put a little bit of fear in, but you don't want to freak them out so they never call you again. But what you've said is true, unless the Airbnb has a pool. Garcia said, as a travel agent, I would be in trouble if the seller or homeowner was not following state laws, not registering as rental property. Right. So, as a travel agent, if you're selling something that's not necessarily, I get it. This is a tough call, friends. We're going to have to table this discussion and understand the liabilities. Maybe I get an attorney on with us. And Sandra said, how do you get paid with Airbnb? I don't think you do, Sandra. I just think it would be a markup situation. You'd put together a package. I don't see why on earth you'd ever want to just book an Airbnb, let's say, and that's it. It'd have to be part of a greater package and mark it up, for doing that work, if you want to do that. Nancy said, I have 3 points here, willing to turn my mic on if we have time. Absolutely. All right, Nancy, I'm going to turn your mic on in just 1 second. Let me just read Dan's comment. Hey, Dan. I think Airbnb could be great for group travel, but I've heard some definite risks with service levels of different properties and last minute cancellations where the host decided to cancel at the guest at the last minute. I hear you, Dan. And you know what? I've shown up to hotels and I've gotten walked. Have you ever gotten walked? It stinks, especially when it's 11:30 at night. My wife and I got walked. So they got us a room at a hotel 3 miles away, got back on the highway, went to that hotel, walked in. Sorry, Mr. Cohen, somebody just booked that room. I don't understand. Were you holding for me? No. I know you're going to be here in 10 minutes, and somebody booked it through the system. I got double walked, and I'm embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed. But I hear you, Dan. It's risk with all of it, but certainly with Airbnb, absolutely positively. Okay, so Nancy, we're going to turn Nancy's mic on. Then I promise you, I've got to get back here because I've got stuff from Erin, Trinita, and more Karen, South Lake Travel, to talk about the presentation stuff that I really want to address. So we've got a lot to talk about, but let's get you on real quick here. Hold on there, Nancy. I'm about to turn on your microphone. Where are you, attendees? Let's see. Look at me go. Look at me go. Okay, Nancy. Unmute Nancy. Nancy, you are unmuted. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Stuart. Can you hear me?
I can hear you great. You're on.
Great. Welcome. Hey, I just have 3 things listening to this entire hour almost so far. One is that, I do several types of trips, and with my motor coach trips, I run local tours from Portland, Maine, up to Quebec or down to New York or out to the White Mountains. And in that case, I am the tour operator. And but also listening in making it easier for me to do other things while I'm working, while these trips are filling up. I now have my bookkeeper has set up a register online, which is through Google Docs, but also a pay online, which is new for me. So I don't have to do a double connection with the person to get the information and the payment. So they get an automatic email that sends them a link that will give them a secure link to pay by credit card online, which has been very helpful for me for my New York trip, because I've already got 36 people, maybe 10 more from another travel agent friend just called me over the weekend. Anyway, so that's good. The other thing is, last time you mentioned my success with the contract for the garden club.
Yes.
And I'm have it all set up to do a day tour for them to come from Maine down to Massachusetts for a 1-day tour. Everything's ready, except their job is to market it, and it hasn't started yet, and it's for September 10th. And I'm a little worried because I don't know what else I can do, because that's their part of it, and that's in the contract. So that's That's a little tricky. It might not happen, but they know that I'm here for them for maybe another time when we have more time.
Yeah.
But I don't know what you have suggested for that. And then the third thing is this June I attended the Adventure Travel Trade Association Elevate conference in Lake George, New York. And one of the workshops was on, and this is totally out in left field, but LGBTQ sensitivities when you're doing your newsletters or your videos or your promotions or anything that the new generations, the millennials and the younger, are much more sensitive than the older generations to this, and that if we are in one of the older generations, we need to be more sensitive. And one way that came out to me after I got back when I was doing a newsletter, one of my lines is, if I've been on a tour and I show the video or the photos of a trip, like the last one to Portugal, I'll put, why weren't you with us? Well, that was women walking in wine. And I knew, and I wrote underneath a little caveat that said, okay, I realize if you're a man, that's one of the reasons you weren't with us. But then I changed it before I sent it out, and I put, to be a little more sensitive, I wrote, I realize if you do not identify as a woman. And so it was just a small step, but it was something I learned, and I thought I want to share that too. So those are three really unrelated things, but I thought I'd share that.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll make a couple of comments. Nancy, thank you for having the courage to put your mic on. I really appreciate it. It's great when I get to hear somebody else's voice. So thank you very much. All right, I'm going to put you back on mute, Nancy.
Thanks.
Yep. Sorry, I think you were saying thanks and I cut you off. There must be a little delay. Sorry. So going to the garden club situation, and they're not promoting it. I'm hoping that you have that group agreement letter that shows the consequences. That's why it proves that having an agreement letter signed that includes the consequences. Okay, what happens if things don't happen by certain dates? So that it's not a surprise to them when prices go up, space has to be given back, or the whole thing gets canceled. So I would, again, you're intimately familiar with this, friends, but if anyone else is encountering this problem, you go back to that agreement letter and you call a meeting, get a meeting together. Hey, how are we doing? Listen, if we don't launch by this date, we're going to miss the window. We're going to lose space. We got to put whatever the consequences are so they see, oh, that's right. You warned us. You warned us, and we're running behind here. And then at some point, Nancy, you know this, you do a lot of these groups. Sometimes you got to cut and run. You got to say, hey, listen, and maybe this will put the fear into them, Nancy. You tell them, hey, listen, if we don't get this out by this date, we're going to have to cancel because deposits are due. And we're going to have to give the space, but we're going to lose the space. And I don't want that to happen to the people, to you, my valued client. So take control, get in there and decide if there's still enough time or not. If you have to set a new date, maybe they're just not ready. Find out why. What is the source of the delay? Is it the people not being responsible? Are there bigger issues? Why are they delaying it? Is it purposely delayed? Is it accidental? Should you postpone it or cancel it altogether? Make some decisions. The other part, that sensitivities, there's no doubt. We're not going to go into a big conversation about that, but clearly, sensitivities are important. And everybody's got to be sensitive to what they write. And sometimes what they say or write is not meant to be insulting or insensitive. It's just, we're just having a conversation here. And I try to do these shows just having a conversation. And, to kind of stay down the line and tell you that I love everybody. I love you. I don't care who you are, what you do, whether you love me or not, I love you. And if something silly comes out of my mouth, I'm sorry. I really, especially with ADHD, I try to measure every word, especially being a keynote speaker. When I do a lot of improvised stuff, it's running through my brain. No, don't say that. Yeah, that's okay. That's cool. That's safe. We just, we want to be good business people. We want to be stand up. As my good friend Brad Token says, one of his best lines that I live with is, the greatest crown a person can wear is their integrity. And I think it goes to that. So Nancy, thanks for sharing that. Before I get back to your comments, I do want to talk about Erin's thing. She posted this in Facebook, Cultivating Connections, Travel Partners. So listen, everybody. Hello, new advisor here, and I've spent most of the last 6 months creating a business and learning all about the business. I'm thankful for Stuart's boot camp and one of those that really needs things spelled out, and the boot camp does it. Cool. Thanks, Erin. I appreciate that vote of confidence. Now we are CEU approved. I'm with a host agency, so I know there are variations in what we can do. I'm trying to navigate what is and not allowed, especially when it comes to markup. So this is a conversation about markups, friends. And if you've been boot camp for a long time, we've had this conversation many times before, and we're going to continue having it many times in the future. It looks like she can have her host agency charge the client's credit card. And by the way, this is in Facebook. So if you've got great solutions and your ideas, share this with Erin, please. I love best practice sharing, friends, and I need you to do that. She might be able to charge the client's credit card using the host agency's charge, and they'll pay out to the various suppliers for a fee. So let me just say that because she says that she has a merchant account for service fees. But one of the downsides is that if your client, Erin, sees all these different names in their credit card statement, they're going to get nervous. They're going to find it inconvenient. They're going to get suspicious. They're going to get suspect. So by limiting how many different charges, and also they're going to see the breakout. All of a sudden your beautiful package, your service fees, everything gets exposed, and you want to eliminate that. You want to charge it as a package. So my bottom line suggestion, friends, okay, minimize the number of payments they have to make and the names they see in their credit card statement. If you have a markup and you can't put it through a different various credit cards or one particular supplier, then perhaps you can get the deposit. Can you get the deposit on check? Get the deposit via check or Venmo or PayPal, where they just transfer you the money, where there's no credit card involved. And you come up with a number, it's a round number, $400, $500, $600, whatever. Say, friends, here's how it's going to work. It's this two-step process. You deposit and take by check only, but the final balance is going to be paid by credit card. Can you do that? So this way, that money that comes in by check, it becomes your fee, that's your extra fee, your markups, and to pay various suppliers. And of course, some suppliers will take the markup. Erin, I don't know if you know that, relatively new in the business, but some suppliers will allow you to take the markup. They will take the markup up to a certain amount. Yes, they'll charge you the 3% or so because they're the one taking it on their charge. So you want to inquire about that. But you want to minimize the number of charges they're seeing. And God bless you for having your own merchant account. It's very expensive to have your own merchant account. But if you do, that could be the single answer. But I also understand you're a little bit handcuffed because you have a host. And I don't want to position that as negative, because having a host is awesome, is huge. But the way the money matters work are more controlled. So I've got to believe your host has experienced this before with other independent contractors. Get on the horn with their finance people, work this out. Just minimize it so that for the consumer, there's no red flags, there's no yellow flags, there's no flags at all. It all makes sense, and you can build in your fees, and it still stays invisible. Hope that works. Let me get back to the boards here. Nancy said on the garden tour contract stated minimum required by August 28th to guarantee departure. So I would start raising the red flags right now. Dan said, have a great Stu, got a noon appointment, can't stick around. Hey Dan, I'm glad you were here. Sandra said, I actually had an older client message me when I posted something including LGBTQ. She said she was concerned it would damage my relationship. Oi, what do you tell these people when you completely disagree? Man, that's a conversation for another day. I don't get political, and I don't want to say political because it's not political, but I just shy away from any of that stuff. I just say, I love you. I don't, and if this is your specialty though, if this is something you're appealing to, it's part of your marketing, then you need to stand firm with your demographic that you're appealing to, friends. If it's your passion, if you have zeal for it, you can't shy away. You need to proceed with your business plan as long as it's about love and it's not about judgment or hate or divisiveness. If that's your target audience, then that's who you need to market to, friends. And if they don't want to follow you anymore, Sandra, you need to say, okay, I understand, I still love you, but I gotta let you go. You don't need to follow me if you don't fit into my client profile. I'll still be happy to help you, but I've created a special trips and a special program around particular groups. I can help you or I can't help you. I'm your guy, I'm not your guy. I'm your gal, I'm not your gal. All right, man, we didn't get to this, or this. Karen of South Lake Travel, I wanted to talk about presentations because Karen she looked up her local NSA chapter was having Patricia Flip, who's an expert, a celebrity speaker, come in and talk about how to give better presentations. I want to learn more about this, Karen, what you learned, because I did a 45-minute seminar morning workshop at a recent conference, and it was extremely well received, and I want to do this for the industry. I want to do some how to give better presentation seminars too. So I need your feedback and everybody's feedback. Do you need this help? It is time, friends. It is time. I want to stick around, but I got to stay true to your time commitment, my time commitment. I'm glad you were here, friends.